I want to know, I have a question. I want to know if you ever think about the music that you listen to, or maybe even more importantly, do you ever think about the music that you sing along to? Raise your hand if you usually think about the words you're singing, or maybe if you're in the car and you hear something and you're just like, oh, this is catchy, I'll start singing along. And then these are the songs that, like, you know 3 words, so you end up, baby, something like that. All right, that's most of you. All right, I was in high school when all of these scholarly studies started coming out that talked about the effects of negative music on teenagers. How if we listened to violent and aggressive and depressing music, we were more likely to be, violent and aggressive and depressed. And I remember these studies came out, and we talked about them in church, and there were these PSAs on TV, and we had to go to these school assemblies where some really entertaining speaker would talk to us about the effects of harmful music and all this stuff. And I remember listening to it, and they'd show this data, like, people who listen to one rap song, 100% of them go out and commit a murder or something. I'd be like, okay, that doesn't sound good. But I also remember thinking, yes, that's probably true for somebody else. And I think that's the way most of us look at these things. We look at these things and we think, yeah, I can see where that would have a naughty effect for someone besides me. Not me, of course. I'm fine. I'm grounded. I've got my feet on the floor. I'm firm in my faith. I know what I'm doing. Other people might get screwed up by bad music, but for me, well, I can pretty much listen to whatever I want to, and I'm going to be okay. But guys, the bad stuff, it goes the same for the good stuff. So when you're singing a song like this, Inside Out, that you want to be transformed from the inside out, and I know we've sung it quite a bit lately, but if you sing it enough, you hear it on the radio, maybe it's on your MP3 player or whatever, you listen to that enough and you sing those words enough, all of a sudden they become a part of you. Just like violent and aggressive and depressing music can do all those things to you, a song like that, if you sing it enough, God just might do what you're asking him to do with those lyrics and take you from the inside, transform you into a new person so that externally on your outside you are also different. At least that's what I hope. I want to tell you a story. A couple weeks ago we went to the Martin's Side Door Deli. Me and Lindsay went there for lunch. And you guys know they got the big old salad bar with like 500 items. And for whatever reason, on this particular day, I just went up there. I was like, lettuce, that doesn't sound good. Bacon bits, no. And I got to the fruit side of it, and I loaded up on all this fruit. I had like these strawberries and bananas and everything else, just like a pile of fruit. And at Martin's, they charge you on weight, not volume. And the density of an apple or a strawberry is much greater than the density of lettuce. Basically what I'm telling you is that without realizing, I bought $12.59 worth of nothing but fruit for lunch. All right? So imagine what you might go buy if you were like, I'm going to go out to lunch and spend almost $15, what you might get. Got a gigantic pile of fruit. And Lindsay's all like, what is up with that? And my wife actually does not like fruit. There is no fruit that she likes, which makes her at least as weird as I am. But she's looking at this and she's like, Aaron, I think you have a fruit problem. And I'm like, no, it just sounded good. And she goes, yeah. And she's telling me about these instances she's noticed. Like about 3 weeks ago, we went to the farmer's market, and I bought 3 pounds worth of strawberries. And I went home, and I went to the fridge thinking, I think I'll have a strawberry or two. And I literally sat down at the table and in one sitting ate all 3 pounds of strawberries. Except for the little green parts, because that's disgusting. And she's like, Aaron, we go to you've been eating like 4 apples a day. And she's telling me she's starting to worry about me. She's starting to worry that maybe my intense craving for fruit is due to some sort of vitamin deficiency. All right, maybe I have some physiological problem that is manifesting itself in an unhealthy amount of fruit want. And so she goes home and gets on WebMD and starts looking up these things about vitamin deficiencies, vitamin C, vitamin D, and she's like asking me if I have all these other symptoms. Well, do you? And then she asks me a bunch of things that I'm not going to repeat, like, because they're all gross. Do you have this disgusting problem? No. That can happen? No. So I'm keeping track of my diet, and I'm keeping track of how frequently I go to the bathroom and all these things, just to see if I have other symptoms of a vitamin deficiency. Okay? And it turns out I don't have any other symptoms of vitamin deficiency. For inexplicable reasons, I have gotten rid of pizza and hamburgers. I am only eating fruit now. And then one day I'm home with Colton. It's a Monday. I stay home with Colton on Mondays, and we have Daddy and Me days. They're very fun. And I realize that as the father of a toddler, I only watch the Wiggles about 3 hours a day. But if you know the Wiggles, you know that they've got this song. Colin, will you play it for us?
Fruit salad, yummy, yummy.
You can sing along if you want. You know it. I know you know it.
Yummy, yummy.
Clay.
Fruit salad, yummy, yummy. Yummy, 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 yummy. Fruit salad.
All right, that's funny. That was weird. And I'm listening to this song, and I'm like, yeah, that does sound yummy, yummy. It sounds yummy, yummy again. First step, peel the bananas. Oh, that sounds good. Toss in some grapes. Yes. Chop up some apples. I'm game. And I'm listening to this, and all of a sudden it hits me. This song has literally been stuck in my head since like September. Right, Lucas? We'll be setting up tables, getting ready for Wednesday Night Live, or carrying stuff around, or getting ready for this. And we'll just be walking around the building, carrying chairs, carrying tables, putting up video games, whatever. And I will spontaneously break into this song. Fruit salad, yummy, 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 etc. And it goes, I have literally been singing this song uncontrollably for 4 months. This is no joke. And I realized that if these 4 ambiguous Australian men in matching colored jumpsuits can somehow invade my subconscious and convince me to abandon pizza, hamburgers, and tacos, all in the name of fruit salad, with their disgustingly catchy lyrics and little dance routines, if those guys can do that to me, then I would have to be pretty arrogant to assume that violent music couldn't make me violent. To assume that aggressive music couldn't make me aggressive. If all of this talk of fruit salad removed me from my carnivoreism, then wouldn't I have to expect that just about any other kind of music would have just about the same power over me? I was defeated by the Wiggles. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. It can happen to you. You watch, you're going to turn 16, your parents will be like, what do you want to drive? Big red car. It's completely ridiculous. So if music about fruit or violence or depression or whatever it is can transform us, then I believe that God has the power to transform us when we sing things like, God, transform me from the inside out, consume me, God. And I think I want to get at one idea that I think that song and those lyrics are about. And those are the 2 words that, really make up the title, inside and out. A lot of people will talk about how someone doesn't think I'm religious, but they don't really know what's on my heart. Well, that's all well and good and all, but I think what's really important to realize about the way God works is that when God transforms your insides, there is necessarily going to be transformation on the things that happen outside of you. If God completely fills your heart with love, you will love people more than you did before. If God completely fills your heart with peace, you will have more peace in your life and share more peace with other people around you. The one thing, guys, that we cannot do is be completely filled with the good things of God and say that we are completely filled with the good things of God, but live a life out here that has no evidence of the good things of God. I'll tell you a story. I've told some of you this story before. Some of you already know this, but I was not a Boy Scout, and I never learned how to identify trees. Never really been a big problem for me, but I did have a roommate in college who was really, really into arbory or arborism, I don't know, the study of trees. And we'd go hiking, because I like to hike, I just didn't like to look at the trees intently, and he would say, Aaron, do you know what kind of tree that is? Why didn't I go hiking with somebody else? No, I don't know what kind of tree it is. It's fairly tall. But yes, look at this leaf. Do you see the shape of the stems? Why aren't we hiking? Do you know what kind of leaf? No, I don't know what kind of leaf this is, and I don't care what kind of leaf it is. Aaron, this is an elm tree. Okay. This has never affected me in my life, the fact that I can't identify trees. I don't think that it's terribly important. But actually, I should tell you, and some of you already know this, that there are a few kinds of trees that I can identify expertly. There are a few kinds of trees that I can identify every single time. These are always fruit trees. When Lindsay and I drove down to Florida for our honeymoon, we're driving through Florida, and she points out the window and says, hey, Aaron, you see that tree with the oranges on it? Yep. That's an orange tree. Yes, it is. Because trees that produce fruit are easy to identify. Banana trees produce bananas. Kiwi trees produce, I've never seen a kiwi tree, but I bet they're cool. Kiwi trees produce kiwis. There's this verse in Galatians. It's the fruit of the Spirit, right? It's Galatians 5:22. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Let me read that again. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Guys, we're like those fruit trees, okay? What we cannot do is say that we have the Spirit, but not show any of these things. That's the equivalent of an apple tree claiming to be an apple tree, but dropping acorns. It cannot happen. Apples always grow on apple trees. Potatoes never grow on apple trees. No tree has ever produced a light bulb. And if you have the Spirit and you want to show the fruits of the Spirit because you are growing in abundance of faith, you are going to have love, joy, peace, patience. All right, I think we got them all eventually there. There are two kinds of fruit trees that do not produce any fruit. There are two kinds of fruit trees. The first one is a very young fruit tree. These are called saplings. They are not mature enough to produce fruit. Now let me make one thing very clear with you. Every person in this room is old enough and mature enough to fruit. We are beyond the sapling stage. All of you, 6th grade on up, you are old enough to produce these fruits of the Spirit. You're past the sapling stage. The second kind of tree that doesn't produce fruit is a dead tree. Dead trees don't produce fruit. They can stay in the ground. If they have a good root system and a good thick trunk, a tree can die, but stay upright for another 20 or 30 years. And I see a lot of people who want to be Christians who walk around and they look like you and me. And from a distance, unless you were to really get to know them and see the things in their lives, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. The same way that from here to 500 feet away, a dead tree trunk looks a lot like a living tree trunk. But make no mistake about it, if there is no fruit, there is no Spirit bringing life to the person. Now, what I know about Jesus is that dead doesn't mean dead to Jesus. If you're that dead tree, you're not producing fruit. There's not that goodness and patience and kindness and gentleness and faithfulness and self-control in your life. Jesus can bring things back from the dead. He did it to himself. He can do it to you, your heart. I know that about Jesus. So what I'm telling you is that if your life does not show the abundance of fruit, the abundance of those good things, then it's time to take a long, hard look and say, Jesus, come back into my heart. Let you fill my life up again. I also know that it says very clearly that these are the fruit of the Spirit. Not the fruit of you, the fruit of the Spirit. The Spirit grows the fruit. The Spirit makes the fruit. The Spirit is what makes the faithfulness, the gentleness, the patience, the kindness, the love, the peace, and the self-control. And that means that if that Spirit of God is not living inside of your heart, well, they're His fruits. They'll go where He goes. You don't get to be fruitful and have all these things unless you first have Jesus. Now, when you decide that you want to follow Jesus or decide that you want Jesus to come into your heart, this is not an instantaneous thing. This doesn't happen the moment that you say, God, I want you to be a part of my life. Whoa, I feel very patient all of a sudden. That's not how it works. The way that it works is that these things grow, kind of like how fruit grows. That analogy goes a long way. And so as you continue to grow closer and closer with God, as your faith continues to grow in abundance, what you're going to find out is that these good things that you see on the outside of your life, they're going to grow in abundance too. Guys, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to get you out of here. I hope you have a great week. Do not forget that we are closed here next week. I hope to see you all across the street for Youth Sunday. At 9:15 and 5. You'll see some emails about that. So let's pray. God, thank you so much that you offer to enter into our lives, to help us to produce good things, to have good results on our outsides. But God, remind us that it starts with being transformed by you on the inside. God, enter my heart today more and more in abundance, God. And for each person that wants that, I pray that you would enter their hearts in abundance. And then once you're there, God, you will do what you do. You will produce fruit, goodness, patience, kindness, peace, all of those things, God. Give us all of those because we first had you. And helps remind us that that is what it means to be transformed from the inside out. I pray all these things in your name. Amen. All right, guys, get out of here. Have a good week.